want to get up there, don't you? Yes. Kitty wants to get up. Up, and away. Okay, now I just need to find where Eden is. Can you guys hear me okay? Does it sound alright? Hope I have the correct mic. Okie dokie pinky. I think we need to add audio input capture. Is this right? Maybe? I don't know. Sound better? Eden is in the waiting room. Okay. Oh, I have to admit her. Hey! You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself. Watch it. Okay, hold on. Zoom is really weird. I don't know why it always starts you off on mute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, that was my fault. My bad.
I understand because when I'm a host of things too, I have to like click something as well, and it's not like, it's a little glitchy sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't always connect automatically. I don't know why. But
yeah. It's nice to see you, brother.
Yeah. How's it going?
Hi. Good. Let me know when you're recording. If we already are recording, I don't even know. But hey, kitten.
This is the kitty.
Hi, beautiful.
This is Spazzy. Spazzy spazzing.
Oh, hi, Spazzy.
Hello. You see her wild eyes?
Wow, they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They're like jade.
Yeah, she's a good kitty. Okay.
Is that Andrea in the background? Hello.
Yeah, she's here. Saki's here.
Hey. Hi, beautiful.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Look at your cute face.
Oh, thanks.
I love them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You want to join the show?
No, I'm planting plants.
She's planting plants.
Good.
Have fun.
Good.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna connect to the thing this way, so if we have comments, I'm doing YouTube live as well, so if anyone's watching and they have comments or they want to communicate something, then I'll relay the message.
Yeah, sure.
I need to pull them up on my phone. Let's see.
I will respect my client.
Okay. Hey, Eli. Starting on mute or you spill the beans too soon. Okay. I'm good. We're good. We're ready. Can you hear me okay? Is audio good?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Like your chill out beanie.
Yeah, I need to I wear the beanie too much. Like it's like a security blanket or something.
It feels good. It feels good. I've been really enjoying wrapping my head lately because it feels very, like the gentle compression feels really relaxing on my mind and my crown chakra, as well as far as receptivity to energies goes and all the things. It just kind of feels like a little blanket on your head.
Like wrap?
Yeah, like
Pressure?
I wrap my head.
Oh, rub. Yeah, head rub.
Oh, wrap. No, I wrap it. I wrap it with fabric.
Andrea taught me something for headaches. She just like did a compression like this.
Oh, good.
And I'd never heard of it before, but it actually helped. It was very strange.
That feels really nice.
Yeah. So if you don't have aspirin, or you don't want to go the traditional medicine way.
Yeah.
How has your practice been? I have not been up in that scene of yours for a while. Is it wild?
Yeah. It's always. Because my practice, somebody called it yoga the other day, just living and breathing this in the world is a big thing, right? So I stopped seeing it as something outside of myself, although it is fun to see objectively with the word practice from time to time, just so that I can get a gauge on how I'm feeling around that word and work and other words that I place upon that is energy work. But yeah, it's very enmeshed with my spiritual reality is very enmeshed with my human form. And I've been playing with that relationship a lot more lately, as opposed to it being like a separate entity or just diving into the spiritual realm and then coming back into the human space. It's just
you're merging them,
exploring it in separateness and exploring it in the togetherness, which is essentially is just being with it in all different ways.
Yeah,
it's a wild ride.
It's kind of like a comfort thing, I think, at first to use labels and to use tools and things like that. But it's not necessary. But at the same time, I know for myself, if I try and offer Reiki or something and I don't give any symbols and I don't give any history and I give none of that stuff, because that's more me. Like I'm more just let me work on you and that's it, right? But people tend to need some sort of recognizable form. So
right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Or an alphabet is the way I've been feeling into it lately.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to give it, to distill it into compartments.
Are you still doing Reiki, or are you doing mainly shamanism now? Channeling.
So I started in Reiki, and then I moved into the shamanic way, and then I started doing shamanic mediumship, and then infusing everything with channeling. And so, which essentially, channeling is just being in the flow state and allowing light to pour through me, whatever it looks like. So I am, or prior to the coronavirus situation that was going on, when I was able to meet with people in person, I was doing Reiki sessions, which I think is, like I said, a particular language of light channeling. And then I was doing what I was calling an immersive session, which was kind of like a hodgepodge of all the things that flow through me from all the different experiences that I play in.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, I have been really, really loving the spirit communication aspect or the channeling aspect. I still use a lot of Reiki tools on my body as a medium when I'm transmitting healing across time and space to people in a quantum way. And I still love using a lot of shamanic tools, which is still very like physical on the earth body when I'm doing some spirit communication. But shamanism also works very much in spirit. So yeah, I think long story short, I've been feeling into channeling a lot more, of spirits communicating with spirits of plants and ETs. Plants and ETs have been coming through more lately.
Yeah.
And figuring out how that relates to us in the here and now, with everything we're moving through situationally and independently and as one.
You had a message come through about COVID, right? Something very specific.
Yes.
Would you mind reiterating that for everybody? Because I know that's the number one topic on everyone's minds right now, and people are just like going out of their minds because they don't know exactly what to think of it, I think.
Yeah, this was the original message. So when it first started landing in like February, I jumped in and I asked my guides, that's what I call them, but I was asking these aspects, these oversouls, these higher vibrational beings to allow me to speak to the spirit, right? The spirit, why not, of COVID-19. And interestingly, what I ended up communicating with said it was the spirit of COVID-19, but the reason why it asked for me, why it had said that to me initially, was so that I would continue asking questions, because that's what I wanted.
Right.
And if it said, no, I'm not, then I would have shut it down in my layers of perception. So I was like, okay, cool, you are.
Right.
And then I got all these answers, and then I asked again, and it said, no, actually, I'm not, which I thought was fascinating. So it was just a permission slip or an entry point.
That's hilarious. But did the entity identify itself further after it said it was not that?
It didn't name itself, but it looked really, really big, and it looks like it had like these little fangs, and it looks like it was kind of like an octopusy worm type being with many tentacle-y arms.
Yeah.
And after the fact, when I was coming back down through the layers or the dimensions, coming back into my form and out of this vision quest, I saw it was... Oh, Robbie's in the back. Yeah, I saw it was actually like a microscopic being that was, so it looked big because I was in front of it, but it was a microscopic being that actually was riding along the virus. So it was
Were you talking to a piece of nanotech? Sentient nanotech? Were you talking to like black goo?
Maybe. That answer's not clear right now.
Okay.
But what I do know is it was a light being that was riding along the virus in order to see where the virus was going or spreading. Mm. And it had said that its purpose was to find out the seeds of corruption. Mm-hmm. And to find out, to create a web of this corruption that it could follow and trace and take down because of what we are doing to the earth, which is a meeting place for many ETs and many spiritual beings. It's like a bus stop, and they really need the earth to be able to connect with one another in the galaxies.
So their bus stop is like dirty and breaking down, and they're like sending...
Yeah, they're kind of like not very happy about it.
Yeah, makes sense. The octopus thing is... Many people have described that as like the demiurge character that supposedly runs the realm. I know that's what Chris Geo, I think when I don't know if you know of him, but he's done a lot of ayahuasca work. And he said when he went into a couple of his trips, he went and saw the actual being that was running the place. And it was like an octopus creature. And each leg was like one of the various mainstream religions. So it had a bunch of legs. And then also Becky Barron. It's all of the stories kind of coincide around like some sort of octopus or insectoid.
Definitely felt like it was running the show for sure. It looked huge, and I went into this room that looked like the void space, but it was like, it felt like it was almost on a throne. It was like this huge being where I felt almost scared to communicate with it because it was just so big, and then energetically speaking. And then, like I said, when I zoomed out, it was like this tiny little boop, like, hello. And it just went and just flew away,
Wow. Did it seem malevolent, or was it neutral? Like, how did it portray itself energetically?
It portrayed itself in a venomous way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it felt very, as we would say, like unhappy, but it just seemed vigilant around its cause.
Yeah.
That's the way I could put it. Because, it's not like angry. That's a very human, dense emotion,
Right.
Emotional construct to that reality. But it just felt very vigilant and very determined to execute its plan for taking down it said humans, but taking down the essentially one layer of corruption on this planet.
Just one? So it's trying to take down like the cabal, essentially.
Perhaps many.
Perhaps many.
Yeah. So that's one of the many downloads I've been getting, which I think gives us a lot of hope. I mean, with that layer of corruption being eliminated, however, it did also tell me that there are some loving beings, some loving humans that are being compromised because they have given their as a part of their divine plan, whether that is a belief or not for people, as a part of like the bigger scope of things, that these beings have manifested in the human form to be a part of that takedown of corruption. Like some people, some angelic angels or whatever you might call them, but higher spirits, ascended spirits have come into human form to be able to assist in this process, meaning like if there's a loving being who's getting worked on by let's just give an example of like a doctor that is highly corrupt, that being may have to be eliminated, the loving being, so that the higher vibrational entity that is riding on COVID-19 can see the corrupt doctor that is working.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like sacrificial not victims, but like it's sort of like a sacrifice almost. Yeah.
And then that's kind of difficult to hear, but it's all happening. there's so many ins and outs and in betweens that are all happening at once in the overlay.
How is, to go from the macro to the micro for you guys, how is the actual city of San Francisco handling all of this? Is it
Someone
shut
on
down?
my Facebook put it, I've been using the algorithm of Facebook to communicate or to connect with really interesting beings that I feel just called to connect with spiritually, and that's been really fun. And one of the beings that I connected with recently I said, what's inspiring you lately? And he said, well, the beings or the humans in San Francisco are playing very nicely. And that was his inspiration, and I thought that was really awesome. And I've been seeing that. Like, a lot of people are walking around wearing masks in what feels like a courteous gesture. People are kind of walking around each other, but still making eye contact. So it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like it's just kind of like, oh, we're respecting this ideology of social distancing and not wanting to infect one another or whatever. Whether or not that would actually happen, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But it does feel pretty courteous. Like, a lot of people are out and about in the sunshine around here and trying to and getting their needs met around moving their energetics in their bodies and whatnot with walking. And
Yeah, I haven't seen too much fear stuff around here. I mean, I don't even see people staying inside, really. It's the amount. I guess maybe there aren't as many people walking around, but as far as traffic on the roads, I don't even see that much of a dip. I don't know, like, people seem to either be checked out, like they don't even care that something appears to be going on, or they're just playing it very cool. Like, I don't see people reacting. Even at my work, people are just like, oh yeah, we gotta wear masks, and they just make a big joke out of it, like, we gotta be hall monitored 6 feet, people are kind of treating it like a joke. And that's very interesting because the people have been very programmed, right? And if someone says pandemic, you would think everyone just loses their shit immediately. But they're not.
Yeah, there are lots of layers to that, because when I'm just walking around, if I'm keeping my distance from other people, I'm not wearing a mask. And I feel like, one, yes, it's very courteous to do so. However, if I'm keeping a huge distance from other people, I have this knowing in my body and in my being that if I am keeping my distance and I am also staying really strong in my light body, that it's not just going to like waft in the breeze and and cling onto my face and like start sucking out my energy, this virus.
Yeah.
And, or I'm not just going to like swallow it. So I've been feeling into lately, right? Like the courteousness of keeping my distance. If I'm going to be in a store and touching things and like in a close proximity to people, yeah, I'm going to be wearing gloves and a mask. But I still have been feeling into lately boundaries and barriers. And as relates to, if I'm creating a boundary or a barrier, that is something that I'm putting up, which means that I have some fear.
Yeah.
And if I can just stay in my fullness and my love and my light body, then there's no need for a boundary or a barrier, which is a door that I have to walk through or walk around or navigate, find a key for, when I could just be strong in who I am. So yeah. I've just been having that conversation lately with myself as relates to this, like catching something from the wind or whatever.
Yeah. I haven't felt the need personally. And there have been videos saying, even describing what a virus is and how a virus is just your body is producing chemicals to help fight something that's present in your body, and it's not something that hops from body to body. It's not a contagion like bacterial infections are. It's something different, and I've listened to a couple different medical professionals speak about it that weren't, paid mouthpieces for whoever. And they just were like, it's not, the whole way it's being portrayed is inaccurate. Sorry. And it just feels inaccurate to me. None of it feels like a big psyop. It does not feel like a pandemic. It doesn't feel like people are dying in all these hospitals. It just doesn't feel like that. That's without like doing any. That's without going and banging down their doors or anything. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like something else. Something is definitely happening, but like what you were saying, it's, if anything, it's like a specific targeted sort of thing that has a very specific reason, and the people are being kept home for some reason. Some people are saying, oh, they're installing 5G systems in all the schools, and they're trying to use this opportunity while everyone's at home, hiding in their closet or whatever. And some people are saying it's just a front for an economic reset. Some people are saying this is the age of Aquarius is just coming in, and everything is getting flooded out and reset and cleansed. There are a whole bunch of different theories about it, but it doesn't feel like whatever I would imagine a pandemic to be. It doesn't feel like that to me. Pandemic seems very different.
Robbie and I have been talking about that, and I'm not sure. I really haven't explored that question of what's going on out while we're indoors, what's going on outdoors, so to speak. But I have been feeling into these numbers that are being presented around death tolls and things like that. I don't focus on them, and I've been told by my guides not to focus on them because of the impact that the shock wave that could have on my nervous system, feeling into death by the thousands. I mean, that's kind of a big thing for one person to be actualizing into their consciousness without it impacting them. But also I've been feeling into how are these numbers coming about? Because there's a lot, I've read that there's a lot of misreporting of deaths in the medical system unless there is they can prove that there's a specific cause where that has come from.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just don't know if they're being, those numbers are, some of them potentially are being
Exaggerated?
enlarged or fabricated,
Yeah.
or, I'm sure some of it is truth, but yeah, I definitely do feel or sense that there is something that is being shielded from us and the media, and that a lot of what is presented by the media at large, which is what is the government wants us to hear and feel, is shielding some inherent truth that we all should have and we do have access to, but should be able to be gifted to us in the way of words and language and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question, Gary. Like, I would love to drop into that and see what I'm able to find.
Yeah. We've had this going on for a while now. It's been 2-3 months, and I cannot make any more sense of it than at the very beginning. And like, this is the biggest thing that we've experienced, as far as I know. Like, it's bigger than 9/11 in terms of scope of what actions it has had people take. Like, the economy essentially is shut down, as far as we can understand, aside from essential services.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's as a result of a psyop, then whatever, the thing is covering for has to be massive, right? Must be. It just
I
seems
feel
strange.
like right now, to be very clear with you, I feel like something wants to come through and speak.
Through you?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to close my eyes and just see if that's okay. And you can ask questions too if you want.
Okay.
Does that feel good?
Sure.
It feels like that being, that octopusy being,
Yeah.
actually wants to come back through and speak.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I'm just kind of acclimating to their vibration. And it says, what do you wish to know?
What's the true purpose of shutting down all of the economy? Or most of the economy?
I pick up visuals, so I'm sitting with the visuals that I'm receiving as we speak. And what I'm being shown is that the financial systems as we know it, which are entrapped in buildings or structures of our own origin, the ones that have been limiting us from our expansive nature, the ones that have been limiting us from being able to connect to others in our abundant resources, are collapsing and coming down. And I'm seeing them crumbling as if there is an earthquake, as if the earth's vibration is actually getting stronger from us going inside of our own boxes and us jumping inside of ourselves, that those institutions are going to come crumbling or crashing down as the earth is being given space to breathe, so to speak, is it is starting to increase in its vibration, which you have seen through the Schumann resonance actually increasing on your planet as you speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any questions for this being?
Someone is with you?
Yes.
What would they like to know?
No? All right, I think I have another question, and that's
Yes.
as far as the elite structure, the dark hold that has had this planet for a long time, is that actually being taken out in some sense as the cue?
Yes. It is borrowed. The dark forces that you are speaking to are like roots that have been leaching into the core center, pulling the nutrients, the essence, the core essence of Gaia, the Earth's essence, the life force, the source essence of your planet. It has been drilled into and has been pulling out the energetics of this place that you are connected to as humans. If that was to continually happen, then you all would all die because you are connected to that frequency. And so now you can see why it's important that we uproot those systems.
Yeah.
And some of those systems are connected to drilling of fossil fuels and extracting the lifeblood of your planet. Some of the systems that we are seeking to take down.
My friend had a theory that gasoline was a form of, or petroleum was a form of what we call black goo or sentient matter. Would you have anything to say about that?
Essentially, and this is Asha Eden, is that what that being was alluding to is that this is some of the blood of the planet.
Okay.
As we would picture it in the veins that connect. Because it is the broken down, what I'm seeing are like dinosaurs, right? I'm seeing fossils. It is the broken down connection to all living things. And it holds vibration. It is the trapped vibration, or the almost like amber, how it holds life creatures in it, that it is like a crystal of our planet where it's able to connect to in all of its nano, essence inside of the fossil fuels, all of us.
Yeah.
You know.
I wonder if it's a sort of as above, so below thing with like the adrenochrome harvesting that we hear about, if it's a similar thing that we're doing via gasoline and petroleum extraction, if that's the Earth's sort of lifeblood, it would be perhaps paralleling that idea.
What idea?
Of just like harvest, like bloodletting, sacrifice, adrenochrome harvesting from, children. I don't know how much you're into that, but knowledge. But,
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's there are lots of things out there that point to something like that.
That's another one of the pathways that these beings are taking down as we speak.
Okay.
Because it is connected.
Right.
It's connected. It is a harvesting energy of pulling, in the aspect of adrenochrome, is pulling the innocence out of your kind
Mm-hmm.
for corrupt use, where ones are taking with they're taking all of that for what use? For themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaving others depleted. So it's a cause effect of the system that you're moving out of, that black and white, that I am better than you, that I deserve more than you, that I should be able to take everything for myself and disregard the fact that I am actually connected to all things and to the earth, and to extract everything from whatever I feel called to extract for myself, without feeling into the ways that it is impacting everybody else in the collective, including in the universe.
Right.
And that is very destructive and imbalanced, and is not the core nature of humans to do so. But because over time we have become, by paving over the earth, by extracting from the earth, we're starting to lose our connection to the planet. That's why a lot of this is happening.
Yeah.
We're forgetting how connected we truly are to that nature.
Yeah, I posted, somebody had made a connection between Google's actual thing. Their GPU is actually named Adreno, and as you know, the browser is called Chrome, so like they have it just simply like written in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I've come back from the merge, but I'm happy that that was cool.
Right. Yeah, I feel like everything is there if anybody wants to look into it. The only thing that's been keeping anybody from finding that knowledge is the actual fear blocks, and all of the collective programming that has happened on almost everybody. That's the only thing. Like, people have been MK'd so severely that the so-called elite don't even need to hide it very much because they're fully blind anyway. It's difficult.
In so many regards, my ask, or what I would ask people to feel into, is a block is even by saying, I'm what you had just said, which is or are you saying it was like, I'm affected by?
Well, I was just saying if say if you consider the worst case scenario that this is just some sort of like slave planet harvesting center for our precious chemicals in the bodies and whatever we can produce, just like you would milk a cow or something, like say that, and that's what if that was the case, then the controllers, like, they don't go scaring cows. They don't take the cow next to the butchering block and say, "Here, cow, like, look what's happening to your brother." They don't do that, right? They have to hide it from them to some aspect. So I was just saying it's not hidden well here. Like, the sort of control structure isn't hidden well. It's not hard to see that it's an inverted system. It's not, this is the control structure, pyramidal hierarchical system here is not hiding very well, but the fact that the most of the people don't seem to be aware of it means to me that they're heavily programmed and heavily disassociated from what we would call as Earth, which they would have to be because Earth is our mother, and if our mother is getting raped and pillaged, and we're having to feel that, we wouldn't stand for it, right? So there has to be like some massive amount of disassociation and programming.
What I often find is it's both. What I often find is it's, as one thing is happening spiritually, another thing is happening physically, and that the physical affects the spiritual, and the spiritual affects the physical. And so there are a lot of us who are aware to everything that is going on. And that's not necessarily to say that the people who aren't aware to what is going on are being as you were saying, like having systems in play that are controlling them.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps yes. Perhaps there are some that are being controlled. But if we feel back into our nature as humans, as connected to this earth, there are some beings that are being controlled, some humans that are being controlled, but there are also some beings that are just going to always be so connected to the earth, that are in that innocence that I was speaking of, that are in that childlike state, and they're serving a very important role for that ignorance, as we would think about them.
Yeah.
And on the other aspect, it's really important that we have informants. We have people like you, we have people like my husband Robbie, and people like myself that are informants. However, there also is an ask that the people who are watching us are going to be the ones who are wanting that information, that stamp, that seed of consciousness to be awakened in them, because they are a part of the people who are doing the informing. There are also other people who are not supposed to be listening, so to speak, and that's okay, because those people may be too impacted by this information, which would be causing the destruction or the pain in the lifeblood of their bodies, their nervous system, and impacting the earth in their pain, in their nervous system. So if people can assimilate this information in a way where they can stay in their integrity, in their wholeness, then they are welcome to listen and to get informed. But there are other people where if it feels like it's too much, then it is too much. And so getting back to the ask, it feels like people are really being called right now to examine what makes them feel good, to feel whole, to examine the places and the things that aren't, and why we are so attracted to those things, so we can get back to our center and get back to our light bodies and get back to our connecting to the earth. Whatever way we do, because it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
For me, channeling is speaking to entities. For other people, it's playing the piano. For somebody, it's just walking. And that's cool. That's channeling too, as long as you're connected to that flow state. And for you, it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like that information gathering. Like, that's your highest excitement. And we're all being asked to step into our divine truth, as I would call it.
We're all being given a chance to actually examine ourselves, I think.
Yes.
Because whether you're aware or not, if you're in this system, you have to be spending lots of time making money. And when you're making money, you're not generally encouraged to, talk about spirit guides and, things like Reiki and stuff like that. You're trying to sell a widget. You're not doing that stuff. So
separation is not an option anymore for if we are to survive.
Yeah. People have to learn how to actually sit with themselves. I've talked about this a lot.
Yes.
And it's the most difficult thing if you've been living in the persona for a really long time and you're fully attached to that. I am such and so, rattle off your list of whatever, you think makes you human. If you've been really attached to that and you have any sort of crazy event like this, even though this isn't, externally looking crazy, it is crazy, just the scope of it. If you've never done it before, that's going to be traumatic for you. Just sitting with yourself at home with your family, because your worldview isn't working anymore. Your worldview, it's not even explaining to you why this is happening, because it's not a logical thing. COVID-19 is not logical. It's not sensible to the regular mind. So you're going to have to sit with yourself and very likely just be totally okay with having no clue what it is.
Yes.
And that's good. That's a good thing to be able to sit with that sort of, is it this way? Is it this way? Is it this way?
Of the unknown means that you are actually entering the void space of all of creation, where everything is born. You're back in the womb space where you're in the realm of all possibilities. And that is a really big place to be in. I've been connecting to people who feel like this exploration of self is egotistical and is completely like selfish, and I need to be feeling everything for the collective or whatever. But being selfish, really diving into an exploration of self, means that we're actually accessing all of one another, because it's our humanity that we're actually exploring, which is our connectedness to sentience, is our connectedness to this realm of physicality and emotions in one another. So if it's actually, I feel like, more egotistical to walk around in the way that we used to walk around not exploring ourselves in the depths, and just to be walking around doing the day-to-day because we feel like that's what needs to be done.
Or because it's comfortable. I know it becomes comfortable.
If I can explore all the facets of me, I'm actually exploring all the facets of you and the reflection and everybody else.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really nice talk from Esther Hicks on Abraham, who channels Abraham, who has a whole video on selfishness and how important it is to neglect it.
Yeah. I think I lost the bad connotations for that word a while back. I realized that, like, true selfishness just means, like, you embrace yourself. And also, once you're really selfish and you take care of your own needs, then, of course, like, you can give to other people. Because until that point, you're just giving out your own insecurities and you're wishing that they're going to, support you somehow. So it's actually like a reverse thing. Once you've been really selfish and you've taken care of yourself, then you can give, because you're lighter inside. You've worked through all of your, or hopefully some of your issues, most of your issues.
We're always in a perpetual state of learning and navigating. I feel like that's why we're here in this density, But we all have something to teach as well, from our inner voice, from our selfishness. Like, we all have so many gifts that can be shared and accessed by one another. Even if it's something really, really silly, like I'm staring at a grain of rice for 45 minutes and we're talking about it. There's something there.
Yeah, if it meant something to you.
Yeah. It's all effective.
Can we see the baby?
Yeah. Malachi. I mean, it's funny, I'm calling him as if he's going to, shoot himself over. But Daddy.
Hey. Hi, cutie.
He's a beautiful baby boy. Malachi Caleb.
He has so much hair, it's ridiculous.
He's tap dancing.
Did he come out like that? Just like a full head of hair? Yeah?
And that was the first thing that the nurses and the midwife said when he came into the world, is they went, "Wow, he's so much hair."
That's really cool.
Like, yeah, he is beautiful. Thanks.
Yeah, that's good. You can give him dreads.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on too. I know that we've been wanting to do this. We're talking about doing a show together for like 2 years.
Ever since I started, I think we've been like, come on.
Before,
Eden, you ready? You ready yet, Eden? Yeah, I'm ready. No, I'm not ready.
Like, whatever goes now. Now is the time.
It is. Is Robbie, are you staying sane there, staying at home by yourself? Or you're not by yourself, but... Is he doing okay?
He's good.
Yeah? Okay.
He's staying sane.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
good.
Good. How are the pet kids?
Oh, good. Yeah, Jameson is taking a little snoozer. The lab border collie is on the rug. And we have our back door open in the sunshine, which feels great. I think Daily, the tuxedo cat, is trailing around outside.
She's outside.
Yeah, yesterday. She's a huntress, so she killed a big bird yesterday.
Oof.
as an offering. She's like, look what I can do.
Does she eat them, or she just drops them on the porch and leaves?
I think she just plays with them. It's kind of, it can be a little difficult for me to watch sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like playing with them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she knows that she could eat them, and that's the thing.
That's something they usually learn from their moms.
Because she didn't have she had a mom, but she was found at the Daly City BART station when she was really, really little, and as I think you know that story. So she wasn't really brought up under the wing of a mama cat to show her the ropes.
Right.
So I think she's just like, swoop, I have teeth. That's a part of my instinctual nature.
Mm-hmm.
But we feed her, so she's like, yeah, I don't really need to eat that.
She's doing it for sport, right?
Yeah.
Just for sport.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But I have harvested some wings from backyard birds.
Yeah.
That she's procured for us for like feathering off, like dusting off energy before and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Are you still doing like distance Reiki? Or are you still doing like phone sessions or things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have been doing what I call quantum sessions. So I use my body as a medium to access other people, like in the human form, and I find whatever I'm moving through, typically they are in some facet moving through as well, and just entering into their spirit and seeing what wormhole I'm jumping into, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I give voice memos to people about the themes as they showed up and check in and whatnot.
Sounds good.
And that's all part of the path of self-revelation and realization too, because as I'm using my body as the human access point to their spiritual spaces, then it illuminates a lot inside of myself as well, through the connection and through the mirroring.
Yep. I was tripping out over that when you first told me that. You feel in your own body if someone else is, they're having a pain when you're doing a scan or something. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Uh-oh, I think I lost her sound.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay. I think I'm going to go and take a nap because I didn't sleep too well last night. But
Oh, good. I feel I've been napping like all day because I, was doing some spiritual journeying and playing on my physical body earlier. I was feeling like a little nauseous and realized that I had to jump in and name some things of my past that were being shed so perfectly as we've moved out of the full moon right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been like, I feel like I just woke up. It's 4 p.m. It's good. We've got this time space now.
Mm-hmm.
You've been working a lot though, huh?
Yeah. We're happy to be able to still be out and about. I don't think it wouldn't have worked for us to be here and then all of a sudden like out of work because like we just got the apartment and we haven't even built savings yet, so we kind of like had to be in the situation that we're actually in.
Yeah.
So we're
how
completely fine.
How many percentage of people have not been paying rent, Robbie?
Renters board said a third of people didn't pay their rent.
1/3 of people. The renters board said that this past month have not paid their rent in the United States alone.
The whole United States?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So, no worries. Something's happening, right? Something's happening. I still didn't ask that question about what's happening. Anyways, I guess I kind of did.
You kind of did.
Kind of did. We alluded to it. Hey, kitchen cat. Meow. You guys look so cute together. Look at that one big eye. Arr. Like a
I
cat.
woke her up.
But I love you all, and if you're looking to take a nap, don't let me stop you. Get all the cat cuddles you can,
Yep. I'm glad you finally came on, Eden.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
And I hope to do more and connect with you more. It's really, really lovely just seeing your face and being a part of this.
Yeah. I gotta come visit you guys again sometime. Maybe if I end up driving back to visit Jax and the family, then I'll try and stop by you guys.
We'll see.
If not
We'll
that,
see.
then it'll be the flight. But I'll let you know.
Yeah, back when we can.
Yeah. Back when it's legal to do things.
Yeah. I love you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you, Eden. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, too. Should I just leave the meeting yet?
Yeah, just click the red button.
See you,
Bye.
babes. Bye.
Don't need to update.